In this video, we're going to be modeling this IKEA watering can pictured here. Just some fun facts about the watering can. This watering can was designed by a female designer, Monica Mulder. She talks about her process on her Instagram, which I think is pretty interesting, and she's collected all the colors that IKEA has released, which is a lot. So good for her for designing this super successful watering can that's been around for a long time. But let's get started. So I've already shown my planes. I've already made a new part file. I'm going to add the sketch picture on the right plane. Again, I'm just using the search tool to get a sketch picture. And I'm going to take the side. So for my height, I have 13 inches. The width is 13.5. I'm going to, I forgot to unlock the aspect ratio, so I need to redo that. And then the full image transparency, I'm going to put 0.4. I'm going to just rename this to side picture. There we go. Next, we're going to bring in a picture on the top plane. So I'm sketching on the top plane. I'm again searching for the sketch picture button. This one is going to be the top. And the dimensions that I want here. Okay, this one for the height, we have 13.5. And for the width, we've got 4.92. And then we want to scoot it over. We also want to make it transparent. And we actually don't want this one to be down at the bottom. So we could have done this in another order, but for now I'll show you what to do if your sketch is not on the plane you want. I'm going to roll back because I need to create the plane first before I create the sketch. I'm going to make another plane, which is going to be 13 inches up, which should be just exactly at the height of this watering can. So that's perfect. I'm going to call this plane the height plane. I want to rename it. There we go. And now I'm going to right click on this sketch, and I'm choosing the second button, which says Edit Sketch Plane. And I'm going to click this drop down arrow, and I'm going to click on Height Plane. So now right here, it's saying Height Plane instead of Top Plane. And I'm going to press check. So now we have that one up there. What we really want down here on what's called the top plane, but for our watering can, it's the bottom plane. We want the bottom picture. So we want, again, the sketch picture. This time we want the IKEA watering can bottom. Okay, for this height, we want 3.3. Unlock the aspect ratio. The width, we're going to want 2.92. The x distance, it's negative 2.92 divided by 2. So now we've centered it, and we want to move it into the right position so that it's aligned with the bottom of the watering can. That position is 6.22. So we're going to type that. And now that looks good. We just want to make it transparent. Great. Okay, the next picture we want is going to be the front, and it's going to be on the front plane. Oh, maybe we should label these. So this one was the height picture, I believe, or the top picture. This one was the bottom. And I'm going to save my file because I didn't save yet. Now I'm going to sketch on the front plane. This, again, I'm going to bring in a sketch picture. I want the front. I'm unlocking the aspect ratio. For the height, we've got 13. Again, that's the height of our watering can. For the width, we've got 4.92. We need to scoot it over, negative 4.92 divided by 2. And we want the transparency. And then finally, we want to make sure that we label this. Okay, we're going to make one more plane just to represent the depth. So we're going to create a plane. It is going the wrong way. I'm going to check flip offset. That is pretty close to what we want, but we want it to be 13.5 this time. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to start sketching. I'm going to make the planes a little bit less massive, but you can do your planes however you want. Okay, the first sketch we're going to do is on the right plane. And we're going to start with the spline tool. We are going to basically trace. I'm going here to connect to the top plane by highlighting over it orange. Click. I'm just clicking at various points along this edge. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. We'll fix it later. And then if you, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I made one too many. So I'm starting over. But same thing. Now I'm going to click escape to get out of that spline tool. Now I'm going to try to improve the alignment of what I drew with the edge of the watering can. So what I'm going to do, I could either just click on it and now I can adjust these little arrows, but I think this point is out of place. I could pull the point also. And then another way I could adjust it is I can right click and I can choose this display control polygon. And then I can use these kind of triangular pieces to move everything. So this gives really good control in my opinion. But there's, like I showed, there's multiple ways that you could adjust this to match that curvature. Okay, that looks good. Okay, once you're happy with that, you can exit the sketch. And let's rename this sketch so that we can easily get it later. Not wanting me to rename it. Let's see. I'll click something else and then we'll come back to it. We're going to call it main spline. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make another plane, which we'll use to build this model. This one is going to be an offset from the front plane. And we're going to aim to get it kind of in the middle here. So we need to go the other way. I click that flip offset button. This one's 7.875 inches away. So you can see it's kind of in the center of the watering can. Okay, now I want to make another sketch that I can use to build some lofts in the future. I'm going to hide the top picture for now, so it's not in my way. I'm going to sketch on this, what's labeled the top plane, and I am going to use the spline tool. Let's see, actually I'm going to click that and I'm going to just stretch this plane out here so that it's completely covering the bottom of the watering can. Okay, here I go with the spline tool. I'm just making 3 clicks, then I'm going to press escape, and then I can make my adjustments. So you can adjust it however you want to. If you want to use the control polygon, in this case, it's probably not going to be helpful. So instead, you would want to click on the exact spline points or arrows, and then that'll allow you more control for this kind of shape. There we go. So that's all looking good. The last thing we need to do is make sure that we add relations to the correct places. So we want this top arm to be horizontal, and this bottom arm also needs to be horizontal. So once you have both of those, you can exit the sketch. I'm just going to save again. Okay, now we're going to want to sketch on the right plane again. And we're going to make a spline again. Our spline is going to it's going to connect to the sketch we just did on the top plane, but I'm not going to connect it quite yet. I'll connect that in a minute. So I am just following this shape. I'm actually going to come up here instead of tracing this, because we're going to need to build this in a couple different steps. So I'm going to click here and intersect it with that sketch, then I'm clicking escape. Okay, the next thing I need to do is to pierce this dot into this. So I click the dot, and now I'm clicking control, I'm clicking that sketch, and I'm going to choose the pierce relation. And you can see the little icon showed up, and I have pierce 0.1. That's good. Okay, everything looks fine. I'm going to exit the sketch. Now I'm going to make another sketch on the right plane, and I'm pretty much going to do the same thing, but it's on the right side. It wouldn't be a good idea to draw both of these lines in the same sketch, because that's going to cause us problems later on when we try to use them both for a loft or other feature. So do not draw these in the same sketch. This isn't a new sketch. Again, I'm going to click one, push control, click the other to pierce. Okay, now we're going to be drawing from let's exit the sketch. We're going to draw from the top plane, the height plane, the top of the watering can. We're going to need to see that picture that we hid, which was the top pic. So we're showing that. We're sketching on the height plane. We're going to use a spline again. This time we're kind of trying to trace this part of the watering can. So I'm going to click a few times in order to get that trace. And I clicked escape. I'm going to want to put horizontal constraints on these controls that are against this center plane here, because that's where we're going to mirror later on. And again, we don't want to have a crease. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. And let's see, looks like I need to do a little bit of adjusting to get this better aligned with the drawing. There we go. The next thing we're going to want to do is add another relation. Oh, it looks like I'm not really in the right area for, so I'm going to want to make this, I'm going to stretch this over here just so I can illustrate it better. I'm just showing you from a different angle so I can explain what we're doing. Basically, we want to make this point aligned with this point. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it with the relation, but I'm just showing you what we're going for. So we want this to be vertically straight up and down from here. It will also be horizontally aligned, but it already is because they're both on the same plane. So we're just trying to get it completely lined up from above this point with this. So I have clicked on this point. Now I'm going to click control, You may want to zoom in and get a different angle. It's up to you. I'm going to click Control, and I'm trying to get this orange dot, this point. I've got these 2 points, and I'm going to make them coincident. You might have seen that that one moved over so that it's right up and down above this one. And then I'm going to click Check. Now I'm going over here and doing this again with this point and this point. Make sure you have you're selecting when you see that little orange ball rather than just the line. Okay, so you should see 2 things that say point something over here to know that you've gotten 2 points, and then you can click coincident, then click check. Now what's probably happened, I'm going to look from above, is I've probably kind of ruined my my shape here, so we'll need to clean that up. Okay, that looks pretty good. That will work for our purposes. So I am now going to exit the sketch. So the next thing we want to do is we want to project our sketch that we have up here onto this curve that we've drawn here. So I'm going to, it looks like I've already got that one highlighted in light blue, the top sketch up there. I'm going to hold down Control and choose this sketch, which was the main spline, and then I'm going to curves and I'm going to project curve. So now the drawing that we have here is essentially a 3D sketch that we made through that projection. So now we have kind of the 4 outlines to make this main part of the body of the watering can. We're going to want to get the surfaces tab, and we're going to want to create a boundary surface. Okay, we need to just click out. Okay, there we go. So don't worry if you saw that warning, it doesn't matter. So up here in direction 1, we want this left side and then this right side. And then for direction 2, we're going to take this top and this bottom sketch. Okay, I'm going to click check. So what will help us as we're going on is actually to have another guideline here. So what you can do is you can use the hand to go up over the boundary surface. Oh, actually, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm going to click the arrow and I'm going to click the hand back like this, and it's going to really unabsorb features. So that just basically means that instead of being nested under boundary surface 1, these sketches are going to come out. So now boundary surface 1, I'm just going to drag down right above boundary surface 1. So my sketches should be still available to me in my curve. And I'm not seeing my sketch down there. I don't know why. Maybe it's just hidden. Yep, they're hidden. So I'm going to show them again. And I'm going to sketch on this plane, plane 3 for me, but it might be a different name for you. And I'm going to just use a line this time. It's going to come from this bottom sketch to the top sketch up here. I'm going to make sure that I got that coincident like I wanted to. So that one is coincident. And then up here, I don't think I got it. So you can see as I zoom in, no, they're not touching. So we're going to have to get that orange. So I'm going to control click there, make that pierce. Oh, you know what? Instead of a line, I actually wanted a spline. So I'll show you an easy way to delete the line just that you might need to do in the future. You can trim something just by clicking the trim entities, and you click and drag across it. So it's pretty handy. We're going to do a spline instead. click down there, click up here. Now we want to get the point and control click, make that pierce. Let's check if it's connecting down here. No, it's not connecting. We'll make that pierce also. Okay, now I'm going to want to view that from the front. I'm still inside the sketch. I'm viewing it from the front. You can see that the watering can curves out. That's why my straight line wasn't a good idea, but now this is a spline, which means I have these controls and I can try to match up with it better. There, that's good. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my boundary surface and I'm going to incorporate this line as a guide so that as the surface wraps around, it follows this curve. So I'm going to edit the boundary surface. And it was really important that I had rewinded my feature history basically to get before the boundary surface, before I drew this sketch, because if I drew the sketch after I created the boundary surface, and if sketch 11 is showing up below the boundary surface, then you're not going to be able to incorporate it. So you need to make sure it's above the boundary surface. So in my direction 2, I'm going to clear what I've got here. And for now, I've highlighted direction 2 box in blue. Oh, you know what? It was direction 1, wasn't it? So we're clearing all of it. Direction 1 was wrapping around. So we're going to make sure that we select these in order. We don't want to select that one, and then this one, and then this one. Direction 2, we had these. There we go. Now we need to make sure that we choose the correct options down here. So I have chosen this left. I'm highlighting the sketch that's on the left. I want this one to be normal to profile. That again means that the curvature right against this plane here is going to be completely perpendicular to the plane so that when we mirror it over, we won't have a ridge. Then let's take the third sketch, which is the one on the right, and we want the same option, normal to profile. Okay, that is everything we need to do for that, so we can click the check mark for OK. Then the one thing we're going to need to see again later is that main spline sketch that we had. So we had used it in the boundary. Oh, we used it in the curve. I'm going to click the I for main spline. Okay, now we're going to need to create another plane. We actually want our plane to be going along here at the tip of the watering can. So far we've only shown how to create planes as like a direct offset of another plane. But at this time we need to use different references. So the first reference, we're going to do this little point. So you can see it's starting to give us a plane that's aligned with that point, but it's not at the right angle. The second reference, we'll click the spline. And so now it's giving us a plane that's perpendicular to the spline at this point. Now we want to make another plane. This time it is going to be parallel to this plane. So we will click reference geometry, plane. This is where we want it to be. Once again, if it's on the wrong side for you, click that. If you don't have the reference, use this box to get the right plane as the reference. I mean, not the right plane, the correct plane as a reference. I'm just going to type 7.5 right here. And that will be good for the plane. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this model, and I'm going to use this plane to do it. So we need to get the trim surface tool. The trim tool is going to be this new plane that we just made. So I have the correct thing selected there. Then let's see. The pieces to keep. We do want to keep this piece, so we're going to click that one. And I'm going to click OK. So that did what I wanted. I wanted to cut off this kind of pointy section so that we are now going to be able to build the tip of the watering can. Okay, I really don't need this sketch to be showing. I'm just going to hide it so that it's not interfering with what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm going to now make a sketch on the right plane. And my sketch is going to basically be this bottom end here. I'm going to use this spline again. So again, I can make the adjustments later to make it in the exact right place that I want in terms of the coincident relations and everything. Let's see, I'll put this here. Okay, so I'm going to want to pierce it to this edge. I click Control to select them both. And this, I'm going to want to make sure that this directional arrow is continuously curved with this piece here, this edge, because I don't want there to be a pointy section right where I'm joining these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to select this edge, and I'm going to press Control. Oh, Control in that sketch. I have too many things chosen. Oh, select. I don't want the sketch picture. I just want those two. Okay, so you should have two things here. You should have this edge and the spline. And I'm going to choose this equal curvature option. Okay. So now you can see it added all these symbols, and this line is now curving at the same curvature as that edge. Up here, I want to adjust this. I want to make sure that this point is coincident with both of my planes that I've got going right here. So it looks like it's already coincident with one of them. I don't really know which one. It wasn't that one. So I control clicked this angled plane, and it's giving me the option to add the coincident relation. So I'm going to do that. But make sure that you have it for both this plane and this plane. Then the last thing I'll do here is I'm going to view this from the right and see if I need to adjust anything. Again, you could use the display control polygon if you want to just try to make sure that it's generally hitting the green. Mine is not perfect over here, but I'm gonna work with it. Let's see. Okay, this is gonna be fine. So we're just gonna leave that how it is. I'm gonna exit the sketch and I'm gonna save. So now we're gonna wanna do a sketch on the top plane. Well, it's the height plane, the top of our model. So I'm up here on the height plane. I'm going to get a spline, and I'm going to come from up here. And where I'm aiming to end this is going to be basically directly above this. So I'm going to click that point, Control click this point. I'm going to make them coincident. So now they're vertically aligned. Over here, over here, I did not put my sketch in the right place. So I don't want it coincident with this. So I'm going to need to delete that relation. I'm pressing the delete key. So that worked. So now I can drag it over here, and I want it to be coincident with this point. Oh, that's not what I want actually, because you can see that now it's going to curve in. So delete that. I guess I'm giving you a lot of practice on how to delete. I want to bring it over here. I do want it to be coincident with this plane, how I had it before. That's good. And then I now need to make my adjustments. It's a little bit hard to see the control polygon because it's dark gray and with the green, but it is still there. Okay, sorry, I still have this one wrong. We actually want it to be about here. So I'm going to delete that coincident relation again, drag it up, and I want it to be horizontally aligned with this point. So I'm pressing Control, I'm pressing that point, pressing this point, and giving it horizontal relationship. So they're exactly horizontal, basically along this dotted line that you see there. Okay. Okay, now I want the curvature of this line to be continuous with this edge here. So I need to get where I'm selecting the edge. Let's see if I can do that. I think I'm going to hide this curve because it is interfering. There we go. So I've selected that edge and I'm control clicking and selecting my line, and then I'm going to do this like C equals signs button, which adds equal curvature. Press the check. Okay, I'm going to exit that sketch. At this point, we're about halfway through our modeling process. I'm going to end this video and I will record another video for part 2. So I'm going to save my file. Okay, we're back with part 2. What we're going to do next is we're going to project this curve that we just drew onto here. So I'm going to hold Control in order to be able to select them both by clicking and do another project curve. And you can see it's again like a sketch through 3D space that's aligning well with that. Next, I'm going to create a spline on plane 4. Okay, it's not showing me from the direction that I want, so I just click that button so that I can look at it from this side. So this will once again be a spline. Actually, I want to look at it from a little bit of an angle. We are trying to draw from the projected curve. The projected curve is pretty hard to see. It's like light blue and it kind of blends in with the edges of the planes, but we want that one. And this, I'm going to get a lot closer in order to add the relations. So I'm adding a Pierce relations onto these. And then I can do my adjustments. So this is supposed to be like the curved lip of the watering can. This, again, for this part, it might be easier to look at it like straight on. Oh, that's still making me backwards. There we go. To show you that we want this to be horizontal relation so that when we mirror it over this plane here, this is a smooth curve. Okay, I think that's good. Next, we're going to make a boundary curve or a boundary surface. So the first direction that we want, let's get rid of that, delete that, is going to go from this up here to the projected curve. And then direction 2, we've got the new sketch that we just made. And we've also got this edge here. So we can see it's filling in. So now we want to define the different like relationships right here. I am going to show you that you can either do it over here or you can actually come into this interface and select from these drop downs. So this one should be normal to profile because that's again against a plane that we're going to mirror over. And this one, which is touching this surface here, needs to be tangent to the face. So that means this part is going to be smooth against the surface here. There we go. Okay, next I'm going to do a sketch on the right plane. Now we're going to be addressing kind of the back handle of the watering can. So I'm going to do this sketch with a line and just draw a straight line for the tip of the watering can. Now I'm going to get another line. And again, this is setting ourselves up to make a plane. So I am going to make this line perpendicular to that one because, like we showed before, let's exit the sketch. You can make planes if you need two references to do it this way, but you can use a point and a line, and that will make, you can see my plane's showing up really tiny. We can make it bigger, but that's giving us this plane that's like resting along the bottom edge of the watering can handle. So the next step is that we're going to make a sketch on this plane, as you maybe heard George saying, and basically we're going to try to draw, maybe if we look at it from this angle it'll be better. We're kind of trying to draw a half circle here because the back of the watering can is actually round. So we're going to, we can use the sketch that we already had to kind of attach it to. And as usual, since we're mirroring this, we need to make these horizontal. And we can adjust it. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now we can hide this sketch. We don't really need to see that anymore. We're going to make another plane that's offset from plane 6. And it's going to be offset by 7 inches. It should be 7 inches up here. Okay, that looks good. We can make it larger, again, by stretching the corners. Now we're going to sketch on the right plane. Ooh, that was not the right plane. Exit that sketch. Here's the right plane. Okay, we're going to use the spline tool again. We're going to be tracing up this side of the watering can, but we're actually going to extend all the way up to this plane that we just made. And let's see, I'm coming over this way because I don't want to intersect with this surface, so I'll scoot this point over a little bit. That's better. Down here, as usual, we're going to do a pierce. And then up there, being coincident to the plane, that's perfect. Then, of course, we can look at it from the right and make sure that we have, oh, not from the back, from the right. Make sure that we have the shape that we want, but I think that is looking almost right. I'm just going to scoot this over a little bit more. This one. Okay, that's fine. Now let's make another spline on the right plane. This time, I'm eventually going to pierce it on there, but I won't do it yet. I don't want to put it coincident to this back plane, so I'm just going like just slightly to the left. And I don't want to make it coincident with that either, so I'm going to avoid clicking that sketch. And I am going to click up here on this plane. I'm pressing escape. Now I'll come over here to get my pierce relationship with this sketch and this point. Okay, I'm going to exit this sketch. Now, you can probably guess this, but it seems like we keep making at least 4 edges to outline something to then make a surface. So we've got 3, we need another one up here. That's going to be here on plane 7. This one, I'm just going to turn it so I can see. You know, I think I'm going to hide this top picture. That is kind of getting in my way. There, that's a lot better. Okay. We need a spline again. So we're going to create kind of a half circle again, or a half oval, I guess. And these are going to need to be horizontal. Yep. So now I need to make sure that I got the Pierce relations. I think I only got coincidence, so I am going to come over here. I have the point, I have the spline, Pierce, check. This one, again, make Pierce, check. And then the last thing I'm going to do is look at it straight from above and just kind of adjust it to make it a little bit more round. Okay, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. That's good. Okay, once again, we're making a boundary surface, so we're going to want to get the surfaces tab, get the boundary surface tool. Direction 1 is from left to right. Then direction 2, we have our top and bottom. I'm selecting the sketches. And then again, we need these two. These two sides are going to be mirrored eventually over that right plane, so we want them to be normal to profile. Okay, that's looking good, so we can press the check to complete our boundary surface. I'm also going to save my file. Next, let's look at our model from the right. We want to kind of cut off right here so that we can fill in this surface better. So we're going to do a sketch on the right plane. This time we can use the line. We will get a edge here and here, something like that. You don't have to worry about these yellow lines that are coming in. You don't have to follow those, but you do want it to be coincident with both of those. Then we can trim the surface. The trim tool, it's already selected our sketch as the trim tool, but if it hadn't, you could select your sketch either by clicking on it or using this browser thing to find the sketch that you want. So we want to keep the selection. The selection that we want to keep is this part. We're cutting off that part. Now we're going to do one more trim before we finish building this last bit. So we're going to draw on the right plane again. Oh no, I keep clicking the wrong plane. Exit the sketch if you do that. Get the right plane. I'm going to convert entities and take this sketch and convert it. If your sketch wasn't showing, you could exit out of this sketch that you're making and go show it again. But I'm going to convert that. Then I'm going to get a line and draw it basically over here-ish. I'm going to use the Smart Dimension to help you make sure that your line is in the same place as mine. So here, okay, I kind of did that without thinking and without explaining it. So I'm going to show you again what I did because I don't think we've done that yet. Get the Smart Dimension. This time I'm measuring an angle instead of a distance. I'm measuring the angle between this line and this plane. So I click the line, and then I click the plane, and then I kind of draw back, and the Smart Dimension is showing me an angle. Click again to finish it. Now I can edit it. I'm going to put it as 25 degrees. And we still have Smart Dimension. We can click this point and this plane, and let's make this be 8.25. Then the next thing we can do is use the trim entities tool, which I maybe showed you earlier. I can't remember. And we can trim. I think we need to move this. Hold on, before we trim entities. Let's delete that coincident relationship and move this onto here. Okay, we want it to be coincident with this. There. Okay. Oh no. There we go. Okay. Now we will use the trim. And we're going to trim this just by clicking and dragging across it. Okay, so now we will press the check mark. We can exit this sketch. We've got this new sketch, which we created just to do a trim. Click Trim Surface. It's already highlighting our sketch as the trim tool. If not, you're going to have to select your sketch. And the part that we want to keep is this. Okay, now we're going to do another sketch on the right plane. And we're going to basically be tracing this little piece here with a spline tool. We're going to need to add relations to this. I'm making this curvature continuous on each side. Again, I'm trying to select the edge. I'll show you what would happen. Let's say I select the plane and then this. I don't have the choice to make a curvature continuous, so you need to make sure that you select the edge. Then you should have this C equals button. Oh, it didn't like that. I think that's because I hadn't set up my pierce relations. So let's delete these red things. Since it doesn't like those, let's click check. Let's focus on getting the right relations here. So I want to click the little dot. I'm going to click Control, and I'm going to click the edge, and I'm going to put the pierce. Check. Now I need to do it on this side. We've got our dot, this lower edge. Pierce. Now let's see if it'll give us what we want. Oh, now it seems to already have the curvature continuous. Maybe I had clicked it twice by accident. Okay, great. Yeah, whenever it has this little like zigzag lightning bolt thing, then it's showing you that it has the curvature continuous. Maybe not. Let me try again. No, it didn't have it. Okay, sorry. It was showing me the other one. I'm clicking equal curvature. Now we've got it. So now we have the C equals. That's what we wanted to see. And over here we see tangent and equal curvature. Okay, great. Now we're going to sketch. We need one more edge, right? We've got this one. We've got these two. So we're going to have to do a sketch from this corner here to this corner here. And we're going to use that project curve again. So again, we're going to follow this curve. We're going to project onto it, and we're going to do that from up here. So we want to draw a sketch up here. I think we want to show our top picture again, because that will help us kind of know what we're aiming for. Because we're kind of trying to trace the outside of the top of the watering can. Let's get a spline. Okay, and once again, remember that we want these to be like vertically aligned above these dots. Well, we want them to be coincident. That means they're going to be like vertically and horizontally aligned. Okay, we got that one. Let's go with this one. Coincident, great. Now let's see how our shape is looking. Now I'm going to select this edge here, click Control, select my line. Those need to be curvature continuous. And then same down here, let's press the check mark. Okay, this edge and my line, curvature continuous. Press the check mark. Okay, let's just look from the top again and make sure everything is tracing still. It should be fine. Okay, I'm going to exit the sketch. Now we need to create the project curve. So we've already got that sketch selected. I'm clicking Control. I'm choosing this. Going to Curves, Project Curve. There we go. And now you probably can guess what's next is the boundary surface. So we want 2 profiles. Okay, if that happens, you can drag the dot over to the other side to like unwrap it, if that makes sense. Okay, actually, I'm just gonna click them basically both at the same time, at the same part. So if you click the top part of each, it should put the green at the top and the pink at the bottom. Okay, sorry, I led you astray. We weren't doing a boundary surface. This one is a loft. So I just X'd out of the boundary surface. We're doing a loft. We're going to loft from this top edge to the bottom edge. The guide curves will be the left and right. Oh no, I did not get into the guide curves area before I started clicking those. That is not good. Guide curves. Click. There. So we want these to be tangent to the faces that they are next to. And we want this bottom edge, which was sketch 24, I believe, to be, or the end constraint, normal to profile, because it's going to need to be mirrored over that surface once again. There we go. Okay, we are almost done. The video stopped because I had to do something else, but we're back. And now we just need to basically close this all up, turn it into a solid so that then we can shell it and mirror it, and then we'll be finished. So we're going to do some sketches to basically make what we need to close this up. So I'm now making a rectangle on the top plane that's going to cover up the bottom. Basically, I just want to cover this whole bottom circle with a rectangle. And then I'm going to click Surfaces and click Planar Surface. And now that has turned into a planar surface. Then we want to put one, let's hide these pictures just so you can see better what's going on. We can hide the top and the front. We want to sketch on this plane that's at the tip of the spout. Again, it's a rectangle. It's a little bit hard to see where the tip is right now. Oh, because we're backwards. Here we go. It's over here. It's a rectangle that's covering the tip. Planar surface. Then we're going to this plane, which is still tiny. We're doing the same thing. And we're going to need a big rectangle on the back. Okay, I made my rectangle. Planar surface. Now let's do, Let's do hide all types. And what we should be seeing is we should see that the bottom here, the bottom is completely covered. This is completely covered. The front should be completely covered. What we want to make sure there's no holes. So I'm just going to give an example because we could make a mistake. Let's say we did this and we're not completely covering that outline. It's going to cause us an issue later on if there's any holes when we try to like knit all our surfaces together. So we need to fix that sketch. Okay. Okay, let's take away the hide all types so we can see what's going on. We basically now need to make a surface that's going to close the top of this watering can because we're trying to fill it from all sides so that we can turn it into a solid. So I've clicked this sketch here that was our main spline. Remember, you named that one, so if you need to find it again, it should be easy. I think it's in one of the curves if you can't find it. Make sure you have it, and you're going to do an extended surface, I think. Or no, you're going to do an extruded surface, sorry. Pull this out so that it's past the edge of here. Don't leave a gap. This is an example where you left a gap right there. Next, we're going to want to knit some of our surfaces. So we need the knit surface tool, which is here. Unselect that. I don't want to knit that one. I want to knit these, the ones that are on the side of the watering can, and click check. Okay, sorry, I ran into an error and I paused the video to figure out why. So I'm going to start again. Knit surface. I'm selecting these four. What happened before is I had gap control checked, and when I had that checked and I checked merge entities, it gave me an error. So what I've done is I've unchecked gap control. You still do want to check merge entities, then press check. Now we have these knitted. So we can see again what's going on here. The surface bodies, as I select them, they'll turn blue. You can see and make sure that you have all these surface bodies. Okay, let's see. We can hide. Let's hide all types again so that we don't see all that other stuff for right now. The next thing we need to do is a trim surface. We want the mutual type of trim. I'm going to click and drag from over here and highlight all the surfaces so that they all turn blue in the display and they all show up over here. And I'm going to do remove selections. And then I'm going to start clicking on the things that I do not want to be part of my watering can. Oh, that's not one of them. Let's see. I think it's going to be better if instead I do the keep. So I'm going to delete these. And I'm going to click on what I do want to keep. I do want to keep. Oh, I think I see the problem. This is not extending past that. So see what's happening here is I have, I'm not having these, I'm not getting what I want when I'm selecting these. So I'm going to have to figure out why. I think I might need to extend some of my surfaces in order to make this work. Okay, sorry, I just made a really silly mistake. I was clicking over here instead of over here. So I'm going to start again. I deleted everything I had highlighted here. I'm clicking and dragging to get everything. Now I need to move my selection. Don't be selecting in this box, select in this box. Now I can do what I want to do in terms of keeping the pieces that belong to the body of the watering can. So I've chosen already, I don't know why it's not keeping my, it's not showing very well. Let's see if it still works. So I've chosen, the preview is strange, but I've chosen the tip of the watering can, I've chosen the side, I've chosen this little base back here. I've chosen this, and then I think I want to choose this. So for some reason, it took them away when I said keep the selections. Let's see if this is going to work. It did. Okay, that preview was strange. Oh, looks like I missed a piece. I didn't want that, so let's edit it. I also want to keep the top. I missed that. So we kept, looks like we kept 6 things. We kept the front, the bottom, the tip, the side, and the top, which sounds like 5 things. So I'm not sure why I have 6 in the list. I'm just going to redo that so that we are all on the same page. Okay. So I'm keeping the top. I'm keeping the front. I'm keeping this tip. I'm keeping the bottom, and I'm keeping the tip of the handle. So that's 5. That seems right. Oh, forgot the back. That's why there were 6. Sorry, this is taking so long. All right, the back. Now we've got it. Great. I'm going to save this. Okay, so now we have our watering can half shape. Before we move on, we're going to need to turn this surface piece, because you remember up here, we don't even have a folder for solid bodies because we don't have any solid bodies right now. We just have basically the 0 thickness surface build that we made. So we're going to thicken it. So I click thicken. I just click this whole watering can to select it. It should all now be one piece. You shouldn't have any holes or anything. And we don't need to really specify a dimension. We can just click this box, create solid from enclosed volume. The next thing we can do is put some fillets on the edges of the watering can, because this is a part that would be made in molded plastic. Molded plastic basically always has filleted edges. It doesn't really have perfectly sharp edges. We'll do 0.04 for the fillets. Then the next thing we want to do is create our shell. So that's over here in Features, tab, Shell. So we want to make sure that we shell the correct sides, which is going to be these 2, actually these 3. So we're going to still maintain this side over here and the bottom of the watering can. Okay, actually the back little handle is also supposed to be shelled, and this shell, the thickness that we want, not multi-thickness, sorry, is 0.08. Okay. Next thing I want to do is fillet this. This edge right here got really sharp when we did the shell, so let's round that out a little bit. And I can see, because I have the full preview selected, that it's populating the fillet all the way up there, so it should be fine. Should work. Great. Okay, actually I think my fillet kind of lost it right here, so let's see if we can fix it. I'm going to try clicking this edge also. And now we have kind of the full preview of the fillet, so that was better. Now it's rounded all the way up there. Okay, now let's do one more fillet on this. Oh, okay, it's hard to see. This outer edge here. I'll try to get a better view so you can see what I'm talking about. This edge. Looks like it's making it the whole way. We'll just go ahead with that. Okay, now we're very close to being done. We are going to be mirroring around the right plane. So I click right plane. I'm going to click mirror, and I'm clicking bodies to mirror, and this is the body I want to mirror. And I do want to merge the solids. I already have that box checked, so that's perfect. Okay, now I have 2 sides to my watering can. I can go around and check and make sure that everything's looking smooth. I don't have any weird ridges because I added all the correct horizontal relations against the right plane. Okay, and then I'm going to save my work. And as always, if you want to change the appearance of your watering can, you can. You should choose the body instead of a face, because if you choose the face, just one little piece of it will change color, and that's probably not what you want. Let's see. I'm making mine blue with a satin finish. If you don't like that blue, there, teal. And then you can also hide the lines if you want. Now you have your watering can.